Good morning, class. Now, today we will start with your macroeconomics, and your third unit I am going to start, and that chapter is that this unit name is Theory of Income and Employment. In this unit, 3 chapters are there. First one is Aggregate Demand and Aggregate Supply. Second chapter, Income Determination and Multiplier. And third chapter is Inflation and Deflation, its problem and how government and economy can resolve these problems. So the weightage of this whole unit is 12 marks. So first of all, let's start with the first chapter, Aggregate Demand and Aggregate Supply. So in this chapter, simply we will discuss the concept of AD and AS, and then how the economy will reach to the equilibrium, that we will read in the second chapter. So now, first of all, let's start with the meaning of aggregate demand. Aggregate demand, and I think in 11th standard in microeconomics we studied about the individual demand. So here is the aggregate demand, that means macroeconomics. Macroeconomics always deals the economy as a whole. So aggregate demand means it is the total demand of all the final goods and the services in the economy. Or maybe aggregate demand refers to the total demand for all final goods and services in the economy during an accounting year. So aggregate demand of total all the things or whatever the goods and the services are being produced in the accounting year. So summation of all these things is equals to aggregate demand. Now let's come to the components of aggregate demand. That means what are the items which is included in the aggregate demand. This formula I think you have already studied in the expenditure method when we calculate the national income with the expenditure method. AD equals to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. C is your private consumption, that means demand for goods and the services for the private consumption or value of goods and the services that households are able and are willing to buy, that is your C. After that, your I that means private investment, maybe it refers to the expenditure on the creation of new capital assets just like machineries, building, raw materials, etc. G, that means the government expenditure. It refers to the government expenditure on purchase of consumer and capital goods to satisfy the common needs of the society. And X minus M, that is the net exports. That means it is the difference between the exports and the imports of the economy. Now I have written over here closed economy and the open economy. Closed economy, that means because just like in the microeconomics we studied by keeping so many things as a constant, here also we are going to discuss the closed economy. Closed economy, that means only the consumption of the private sector and the investment. These two items will be included in the closed economy. But if you will discuss about the open economy, so government sector will also include and rest of the world, that means export minus import will also include. But here we are going to discuss about only the closed economy where there is no government sector and no rest of the world, that means no export and import. So first of all, let's start discussing about the aggregate demand concept. Now before I'll start this theory, one thing you have to remember in this whole chapter, the one thing I have written over here, output is equals to employment is equals to income. See, this theory is given by Keynes, and according to Keynes, and even this line you can read in this chapter also, in this introduction part only he has written that according to this theory, output is always equals to employment and income. Why it is included? Because I think in the first unit in the national income chapter we studied that output method, value of output method. The second chapter, the second meaning, the second method which we use, that is the expenditure method, and the third one income method. By calculating the income, by calculating the national income by all three methods, we got the same answer. And the circular flow of income also I have discussed in the first unit, that firms are producing, so they are giving the employment to the people when they got the employment, and that again when they are giving the employment, the people are doing expenditure because they are getting the income, so expenditure again goes back in the form of the output. So that's why according to Keynes, output, employment, income all are equal to each other. So if in any chapter or in any book you will see that output, somewhere it is written employment, somewhere it is written income, so don't get confused. All these three things are equal to each other according to the circular flow of income which we have discussed in the first unit. Okay, because this line you will read in the book in the introductory part also he had written. So now let's come to the AD schedule. Now according to the aggregate schedule, now first of all income is given. Because we are going to discuss the closed economy, so only C plus I we want. One more assumption we are keeping here, we are keeping the autonomous investment. See, there are the two types of the investment. This portion is deleted from your syllabus, that's why I am simply giving you the introduction. There are the two types of the investment. First one is the induced. Induced investment is always done for the profit motive. If profit is more investment will be done. Second type of the investment is autonomous investment, and we are using autonomous investment. This investment is done by government, and this type of the investment is not at all affected by the profit, and it is not at all affected by the income also. It is always constant. Okay, so this is also the another assumption. Now let's see first of all income. See, when the income is 0, on that time you can see 10 units consumption is there. Is it possible that if income is 0, still the person can do the consumption? Reason behind, because for the survival the person is going to consume, and it is not possible that if income is 0, consumption cannot be 0 in the economy. Maybe that person will borrow the money by someone, or maybe by the past savings. So you have to keep some units of the consumption always in the schedule, and this point why I am emphasizing more on this thing, because this thing will be used in the numericals also. If income is 0, still some consumption will be there in the economy for the survival. Okay, now see that income increases from 0 to 10, so his consumption also increases, but you can see his consumption increases more as compared to the income. After that income increases 20, then you can see his consumption is equal, 20 equals to 20. After that you can see income increases 30, his consumption also increases 20 to 25. Then income increases, consumption also increases, but you can see now income increases more and consumption lags behind than income. But in the beginning you can see till 0 to 20 you can see his income was less, but his consumption was more as compared to the income. But when income and consumption become equal to each other, after that income increases but consumption lags behind. Now investment is autonomous, so ADV we can calculate by C plus I. So C plus I, 10 plus 5 15, 15 plus 5 20. In this way we got the AD equals to C plus I. Now the same thing we are going to show in the diagram. On the x-axis income we are keeping, y-axis aggregate demand, and I, that straight line you can see, that is the autonomous investment. Okay, so that means autonomous investment, straight line you can see. And now here you can see when the income is 0, some level of consumption is there. According to the table, even I will write over here 10 units. So maybe that means when the income was 0, on that time some level of consumption was there, that was the 10 unit. 10 unit, why? Always remember, if the income is 0, still some level of consumption will be there in the economy for survival, and that type of consumption is always known as autonomous consumption, C bar. Autonomous consumption is that consumption which is consumed by the consumer when income is 0. Okay, this is your autonomous investment. Now this is the C curve. Income increases but consumption is also increases, and C plus I, that is your aggregate demand curve. That means when you will add C and I, you will get the C aggregate demand curve. There is the gap, reason behind autonomous investment. So the explanation, that means AD curve is shown as the total of C plus I, and investment curve I, which is parallel to the x-axis, it is the autonomous investment, and its unit is 5 always. C is the consumption curve, it is written over here, this is C. C is the consumption curve which is positive or upward sloping. Now consumption curve starts always from above the origin. Why it never starts from the 0? Because consumption can never be 0. So consumption curve always starts from above the origin here. From this point the consumption curve always starts. Reason behind, because the value of consumption, because there is always some minimum level of consumption is there in the economy. even when the income is zero, and that type of the consumption is known as a autonomous consumption. And at the zero level of the income, how much consumption is there in the economy? 10. It's shown over here also. So AD curve has a positive slope. You can see here AD curve is a positive slope, which shows that as income increases, aggregate demand also increases and expenditure also increases. Okay, so that means if income increases, your AD curve will also increase. If your income decreases, your AD curve also will decrease. It's written over here. If income increases, AD is increasing. If income is decreasing, so your AD will also starts decreasing. So this is a simple concept of the aggregate demand. Now tomorrow I will discuss the concept of aggregate supply, and after that we will go with the other topics.